Hey guys, Shane here. Doing this video today to kind of cover a topic that's been coming up a lot in the knife community recently, and that's HRCs, or blade hardness. And first of all, I want to say, guys, there's a lot more goes into edge retention than just the HRC. You can have a high HRC and have a shit heat-treated knife. You can have a lower HRC and have a well heat-treated knife, and vice versa. Ideally what we want is a higher HRC with a good heat treat that holds an edge for a good long time and still retains an adequate amount of toughness. The reason I wanted to make this video, though, is because I see so many people commenting on it, and it's kind of getting out of hand, guys, because the majority of the people commenting are just regurgitating that same bullshit information on the Blade HQ edge retention chart, which I promise you guys is bullshit. It's utter garbage. The only thing I can figure when they made that chart was that chart is based on what a steel is capable of, not what it's actually doing once it hits the market, once the knives are made. There is a very good edge retention chart out there that Gerald at Outpost 76 and Super Steel Steve and another guy put together. These guys have taken multiple knives and different steels. A lot of times it's the same knife so that they can see if the result is close, and they're all sharpened to the same edge angle at the same finish and all this stuff. And I feel like that test, while it's not the most scientific in the world, I feel like it gives us the best picture of what we can expect out of the edge retention on a particular steel, on a particular knife, by a particular company. A lot of this came up and started growing a lot of hype with the Rick Hinderer situation with transparent knives. The problem is that we are now living in a Cliff Notes world. You guys, a lot of the people are just reading the thumbnail or watching the first 90 seconds of a video. Everybody knows that's true because we can look at our analytics and see that you're not watching the videos all the way through. And a lot of times you're only getting part of the information. I just want to briefly cover what happened there. Brian tested a Rick Hinderer knife and it came out to 58.4. That's a half a HRC lower than Rick Hinderer's target HRC, which is 59 to 61. Ideally, he wants it at 60. Everybody's going to give a plus or minus one, so 59 to 61. So yes, it came out a little low. A lot of people are doubting Brian's results because the knife had been modded. I wasn't there. I don't know if Brian modded the knife himself. I know if Brian removed the flipper tab, that he would have water ground it, so it would not affect the HRC. But my point is, and I said this in my video about that controversy, is I really don't care that it was at 58.4 because it's just that kind of knife, guys. I don't buy a Hinderer knife for super long edge retention. It's a hard use, tactical folder. That's just not my intentions for that blade. It's just like I've had guys talk about this knife, my ProTech TR4 Auto, being in CPM D2, wishing it was a better steel. I don't care. Because I don't use this knife all day, every day to cut and slice. If you bought this knife to cut and slice all day, every day, you probably made a mistake. There are knives out there that are way better at it. Nearly any Spyderco, for that matter. Now, they make a few that geometry's not great on, but most Spydercos have a good higher HRC, and they have a good geometry, and they're good in slicing. The reason why I say that was, this knife, to me, when I hold it, when I carry it, this is a self-defense tool. I don't need it to cut 1,000 feet of cardboard before it gets dull. Odds are I may never need it to do anything. But if in the situation that I did, it's only going to cut softer material and maybe poke into something. But so it really doesn't matter. When I look at a Medford knife, whether it be the Praetorian or anything he makes, I'm not purchasing that knife for a super high edge retention. And that's the main reason why I wanted to make this video. I know you guys think that I'm always out to defend Greg. I'm not. Greg is a human being. He can do and say what he wants. He's responsible for the repercussions for that. And everybody out there is talking about, that Medford is going to make Magna Cut at 58. Because that's not the case. Why he posted on his website 58, I don't know. That was dumb. None of them have tested at 58. They're testing at about 59 and a half, which is fine for that kind of knife. If I bought this knife in Magna Cut at 59.5, I would be highly upset. I want this at 63, 64, something like that, because I'm not worried about how tough this knife is. I'm not, I am using this knife and counting on it to be able to cut all day, every day. The reason why I was shocked when this topic came up is because I decided to lay the edge back on this Medford Smooth Criminal when I first got it, and it was the hardest sharpening job I've ever done. Now, there's a couple of different ways to define a hard sharpening job. I've got a CRKT Symmetry, I don't remember. It's a little double detent knife. I can't get an edge on it because it's just junk steel. It's soft. It won't. It just won't hold an edge. It won't take an edge. This was the exact opposite of that. This was so hard. I just have a hard time believing it's S35. I've sharpened more S35 than I have anything. This took me hours, and as you can see, it's not a huge edge bevel. I didn't change that edge bevel degree very much at all, and it took me forever because this steel was just so hard. And guys, I was using an Atoma 140. So the reason I'm telling you that is because I know Greg Medford knows how to heat treat steel. He released a video, talking about that he just wasn't comfortable with it yet. The knives that they're heat treating are coming out to around 59.5. When he tries to go higher than that, he's getting a lot of warpage, which is costing me money. Not only because he's having to throw that blade away, but that's every blade he throws away is a blade that's not going to market. So he's not filling a demand. But my problem here is that we as a community now, when somebody has an issue with a knife, it seems like we want to label that company as, I don't know how many times I've seen people talk about Rick Hinderer's heat treats are shit. They're baby shit soft, whatever. I like to joke about it too. I wasn't pleased with the way Rick handled that situation. I love Brian to death. I also feel like Brian could have handled it a little more maturely. But guys, I've handled situations very poorly in my life as well. And I've had to go back and apologize for those and whatever. But anyway, guys, when you're spitting out knowledge that you acquired in a thumbnail or off of a Blade HQ edge retention chart, you're making yourself look fairly ignorant. And I don't mean that to make fun of anybody. I don't mean that to be disrespectful, but it's just the truth. I've seen people talk about how great a 20 CV and M390 is. Well, which 20 CV and M390? Show me the one you're talking about, because a large majority of it on the market is garbage. And when I say garbage, it's at S35 VN levels, which is a good steel, but you're paying up for it. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. I've only seen a couple, and I'll admit one of them was a Riot. However, there was, on that same chart right below that's another Riot and M390 that tested at about S35 VN edge retention level. And that's the reason why I love Spyderco. No, they don't make the most ergonomic knives. They don't make the prettiest knives. Some people think they're ugly. Some people hate the hole, all that stuff. I don't care, because I feel like Spyderco as a company is the most reliable at giving me a good heat treat, a higher HRC that's going to result in a higher edge retention. Also remember this too, guys. When Brian was talking about Hinderer's HRC, you have to keep in mind that Larry Thomas himself recommended Magna Cut at 59 to 61. 20 CV's target HRC is, if I'm not mistaken, is 59 to 61. So these guys are doing what a a man with a doctorate in metallurgy told them to do. It doesn't make their heat treat shit. Brian and several other in this community are just part of an even smaller niche inside the knife community that are shooting for extremes. They want extreme high edge retention. They want extremely thin blades, extremely good geometry, and extremely good cutting. I'm all about that, man. I'm excited that those people exist. However, that doesn't make companies that are hitting a target HRC, even though we think that's too low, that doesn't make them shit. Guys, educate yourself on it. I've offered to share the edge retention chart that's out there multiple times. I put it on Instagram, and it's never the people who want to argue about it that hit me up that want to see the chart. They're not looking at it because they don't care. They just want to repeat what they saw in the chat, or they want to repeat the opinion of other people because it's a popular opinion, and this community of ours, whether we like to admit it or not, revolves around popularity. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. I just want to let you know, educate yourself before you badmouth the company, and maybe not speak on something until you know. So anyway, I appreciate any amount of time you guys spend with me. Peace. Love y'all.